Tonight, a fatal stabbing.
Harry's like screaming, and then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of sirens.
The overnight attack turns into London's first homicide of 2026. Plus, positive cases climbing.
It's higher than it's ever been compared to any time in the last 2 flu seasons.
The concern for a post-holiday influenza surge. And trade tension.
I want to build the cars here, not in Canada.
The latest from the White House on the future of free trade.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the first homicide investigation of 2026 for London police. They responded to a reported stabbing in the Old East Village last night, finding a victim who did not survive and no suspect. Jerry Dewan reports.
London police say they received multiple 911 calls around 10:30 Monday evening.
Officers arrived shortly thereafter and located an adult male in a hallway of an apartment building.
The focus of the investigation is this complex at the corner of Dundas and Hewitt in the Old East Village.
Officers attempted life-saving measures on that male, and he was transported to London Health Sciences Centre, where unfortunately he succumbed to his injuries and has since died.
Residents who live near the building where the stabbing took place say it consistently attracts the attention of police.
It's getting ridiculous how much crime's going on there, like the shooting in there because of drug deals goes on.
Nicholas Jeffrey has lived just a couple of doors south of 745 Dundas for about 5 years. He was watching hockey when he heard a commotion.
Harry's like screaming, and then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of sirens.
Police have not released the identity of the victim. The building does have surveillance cameras on site, and police continue to gather other evidence.
As with any investigation, surveillance footage, video cameras, any dash cam photos, those all form part of the evidence collection process in terms of trying to determine exactly what happened and who is responsible for this, and that is part of obviously is part of our investigation.
At this point, police haven't released suspect information.
We are appealing to the public that if they have any information that may help us identify a suspect in this incident, to call the London Police Service or Crime Stoppers.
Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Local health officials are reporting a sharp rise in flu cases across the region, including new outbreaks in long-term care homes. The increase comes just after the holiday season, which, as Rita Ismail reports, is likely no coincidence.
Southwestern Public Health is urging residents to take action as influenza cases spike following holiday gatherings.
It's also the time of the year. And with socialization happening over the holidays, and now, because like school's back and people are also getting back to work, there's also that amount of socialization that could, lead to continued flu transmission.
Health officials say influenza A, specifically the H3N2 strain, is dominant, and cases often remain elevated into February and March.
Our most recent data shows that our percent positivity is 33.9%, about 34%. And this is still, it's the highest, it's higher than it's ever been compared to any time in the last 2 flu seasons.
Public health officials say vaccination remains the most effective way to reduce the risk of severe illness and hospitalization.
Those who are at the high risk of getting complications or being hospitalized, or those that are really, really young, like particularly like infants, or those who are seniors, who are immunocompromised, have other medical conditions, or are pregnant, it would be particularly good to get the flu shot and take other precautions.
Dr. Tran says along with getting the flu vaccine, residents are also being reminded to wash their hands frequently, cover coughs and sneezes, stay home when sick, clean high-touch surfaces, and consider wearing a mask in crowded or enclosed spaces. Health officials warn influenza can lead to serious complications.
That includes things like pneumonia and other hospitalizations and even death.
Southwestern Public Health says flu vaccines are still available for children 5 and under, along with their guardians. Appointments can be booked online. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Good evening. We've had a light wintry mix across southern Ontario today, and temperatures on the milder side will hold mild until midnight. Temperatures are set to really sit at our daytime highs between +2 and 3 degrees. So right across the region, we are above the freezing mark. We had this line of precipitation come through a bit earlier. We will be overcast tonight with the chance of some light drizzle. Winds continuing out of the southwest, the temperature hovering between 2 and 3 degrees as we push toward midnight. And again, mild conditions with some light drizzle. A pair of cold fronts on the move tomorrow, a blast of cold coming in, and snow squalls will set up as we head into your Wednesday. We'll take a look at falling temperatures and wind chills into the minus teens by Wednesday evening. I'll have your local weather details coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Julie. A new permanent addictions hub is closer to opening in Sarnia-Lambton after a decade of development. With more on the facility's expected impact in the community, here's Brian Bicknell.
Lori Hicks clutches a photo of her late son, Ryan. He died from a fentanyl overdose 10 years ago at just 25 years old.
And at that point, his story was unique, I guess. And now it's everybody. It's the same story from everybody. The drugs that are out there now, the fentanyl, powder fentanyl, they're just so powerful, and addiction grabs you so fast before you realize what has happened.
Hicks was on hand as Blue Water Health announced it's proceeding to tender for construction of a permanent community addictions hub on site.
There's been too many lives lost, but I'm not focusing on that now. It's how many lives can we save with this opening and the others that are going to happen in the next year or so. That'll make a huge difference.
In 2018, Blue Water Health opened its first 7 temporary withdrawal management beds, followed by a 12-bed stabilization facility in 2021. The new permanent hub will be on the building's first 3 floors, where infrastructure renewal work has already been completed.
So that's where acute withdrawal management beds, a stay of about 7 days, and we have beds dedicated to that service. And then the program that's running right now at Ryan's house, 12 beds of the stabilization, they'll now move to this space, and then we'll have 5 additional beds, so 24 beds in total.
It's important to note that this facility is not the same thing as the provincial Heart Hub, which is also coming to this community. However, following their time in the addictions beds, clients will be able to transition to recovery beds within the Heart Hub for up to 18 months. The 27 Heart Hubs across Ontario will address homelessness as well as addictions recovery.
You can certainly operate a more efficient, effective service when we're all together sharing resources.
The cost of the addictions hub is expected to come in at less than $20 million. The tender process will take 90 days, then construction 18 to 24 months. For many, not a moment too soon.
Typically, we're pretty full, so we have 24 beds, and we expect to have pretty much 100% occupancy.
And that's the key with addiction. They want help now, and if we turn them away, we may never get that second chance.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Officials with the City of St. Thomas and the municipality of Central Elgin have confirmed avian flu cases in wild birds. St. Thomas officials say a Canada goose tested positive, found sick in a pond near the Fanshawe College campus on Bill Martin Parkway. They say everyone should avoid these birds right now. Dead and sick birds have been found in Port Stanley as well, which also tested positive for avian flu. Police in Bruce County say they've identified the remains of a fisherman who went missing 2 years ago. Saugeen Shores police say the remains of Lijun S., who was last seen January 27th, 2024. It's believed he had been fishing on the Saugeen River, where he was likely swept away in a large ice flow. Police say the remains were found along the shore back in November, and the identity was confirmed using DNA. To the toddler manslaughter trial at the London courthouse, where the boy's father testified today, telling the court he didn't trust the police officers investigating the case. With more on his reasons, here's Nick Paparella.
Kent McClellan continued to be grilled by the defense during cross-examination. The father of 15-month-old Nathaniel, who died after being at the home daycare of Megan Van Hoof in Strathroy in October of 2015, said something happened at the babysitters. I wanted Megan Van Hoof investigated. McClellan said over time, with no arrests, he had concerns about how police in Strathroy were handling the case. Asked if he thought officers may have been protecting the accused, he said, "I knew there were certain things that were being withheld." McClellan said at the time, "I said the word fix." After being rushed to hospital with a severe head injury, Nathaniel would be taken off of life support days later. It would take years for investigators to eventually charge Van Hoof. She has pled not guilty to manslaughter. Asked if the accused ruined his life, he responded, "It was very traumatic for us. We had a tragedy in our lives." New witnesses are expected to be called on Wednesday. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Parenting experts say there are important lessons to learn after several children consumed cannabis edibles last week at a Windsor elementary school. With more on what happened and the response, here's Travis Fortnum.
When some students got sick last week from consuming THC edibles at their elementary school, one of them called a parent upon realizing something was wrong. Parenting expert Sarah Rosensweet says that moment matters, and it doesn't happen by accident.
You want to be that first person that they come to if they've made a mistake or if they're feeling unwell.
That kind of trust, Rosensweet says, is built over time through regular, age-appropriate conversations. Because in a world where cannabis products are legal and everywhere, kids can learn about them a lot sooner than you might expect.
That story that you shared is that's really young, right, in middle school. But it's, I don't think that's unusual these days.
Rosensweet says avoiding the topic altogether can make it harder for kids to come forward when something goes wrong, which is why she encourages parents to start by listening.
You walk down the street and every other block has a cannabis shop. So even just asking kids like, hey, do you know what they sell at that store? And asking kids what they know is always a great place to start.
From there, she says it's all about being clear without being alarmist.
I think it's important to not vilify substances and that they're not bad or evil, but they're really something for grown-ups.
Rosensweet says simply telling kids don't do it is rarely effective and can sometimes have the opposite effect.
I don't think that it's ever worked in the history of a teenager to say, don't do this, and your kid is not going to do it just because you say don't do it.
She says parents aren't with their kids all the time, and it's not realistic to expect rules alone to prevent every situation. With edibles specifically, Rosensweet says the risk is that they don't always look dangerous, and it's easy to take too much.
One little candy can look so harmless.
If and when a child does make a mistake, Rosensweet says how a parent responds can shape whether that trust holds.
It doesn't mean that you're going to be happy if they've done something like eaten an edible at school and gotten really sick, but you're going to be the person who's going to help them rather than the person who's going to make them feel terrible about their decision.
Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
A local grade 8 student is in the early stages of a music career, writing and recording her own song. Scott Miller has more on the production process and the professionals helping her get started.
Maggie Grace has a very simple reason for singing.
I really like music because it's fun to do and it makes people happy.
Grace, who is just 13 years old, has turned her love of music and her family's musical connections into her first single and music video titled, I Don't Know.
The song is really about, as kids, not knowing all the answers to life, and it's okay to not know.
I don't know what love is. Grace produced and recorded the single just north of Goderich at Beach Road Studios with Juno Award-winning music producer and sound engineer Siegfried Meyer. But the song was written with the help of family friend, Danish pop star Tim Schuh, who says the 13-year-old Grace has a special skill for songwriting at such a young age.
It feels like she's got this invisible friend. You know how kids will have their invisible friends over to dinner or whatever? That's her songwriting and her songs for her, you know? It's, yeah. Wow. Maybe that's our next song, Invisible Friend, for her.
Meyer, who's worked with everyone from DMX to David Wilcox, believes Grace has what it takes to make it in the uber-competitive music industry.
I could definitely see her continuing on. She definitely has that spark that I rarely see in artists, really.
Vocal coach Harley Olivia is also a big fan.
To find someone who's so young and actually follows through and not only writes the song with music, but also goes to a studio, produces it, and has a listening party.
Grace's parents say they saw a gift for music early on in Maggie, growing up in Goderich.
So, she's not one who hears music, she feels music.
It's really just what Maggie has really grown up enjoying and loving.
Grace doesn't know what the future holds for her, but is happy to have I Don't Know out in the world, and even more happy that she made it all happen 15 minutes from her front door.
I think it's very cool because knowing a lot of connections can be very cool.
Near Goderich, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, electric vehicles on the agenda as the Prime Minister heads to China, while Americans downplay renewing free trade. Plus, street protests and reports of a growing death toll in Iran, all under the threat of American intervention.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. Officials with Algoma Steel say they expect upwards of $105 million in losses for their most recent quarter. The Sault Ste. Marie-based producer already announced layoffs for 1,000 workers. Officials say those cuts actually would have been worse if not for $500 million in loan assistance from the federal and provincial governments. They've also said they're pivoting in part to their electric arc furnace project in the face of 50% tariffs from south of the border, stating it will better position the company to meet domestic demand. The Prime Minister is bringing along some provincial leaders for meetings in China this week. There's hope they can make headway on relieving punishing canola tariffs, but as Abigail Beeman reports, that may come at the expense of other sectors.
The U.S. president toured a Ford factory close to our border in Detroit and gave upcoming CUSMA trade talks a shrug.
It's irrelevant to me. Canada would love it. Canada wants it. They need it because we don't need Canada product. That's the thing. You know, I want to be a nice person, but we don't need. I want to build the cars here, not in Canada.
Donald Trump also doesn't want cheap Chinese EVs.
Thank you so much.
And flanked by Michigan lawmakers, Ontario Premier Doug Ford urged Mark Carney not to back down on Canada's 100% tariff on them during his trip to China.
It would not be good for Ontario and Canada, and it sure the heck wouldn't be good for the U.S., and it wouldn't be good when it comes to negotiating with President Trump.
Canadian government sources say to expect some progress on punishing canola tariffs, which China slapped on in retaliation for the EVs.
They've been absolutely devastating to the industry. We've lost over $1 billion Canada-wide. Frankly, just even for my farm, I'm just under $100,000 myself, and that really hurts.
But with Saskatchewan's premier now joining for some Beijing meetings.
Would you take Mo if you didn't expect some relief, some schedule of lower tariffs on canola? Probably not.
Many are wondering if that means EV concessions are on the table.
China's being very savvy in the way that it's picked areas to tariff to pit one region of the country against another. I think premiers have been very restrained in terms of their approach on this, in terms of not trying to divide the country against itself.
In a briefing ahead of the Prime Minister's China trip, federal government sources spoke of addressing trade irritants on both sides systematically, but wouldn't share details on conversations around canola or EVs. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
President Donald Trump says help is on the way for Iranians, urging them to keep protesting despite a brutal crackdown by the ruling regime. With more on that violence and the anxiety for Iranians watching from around the world, here's Heather Wright.
These are some of the images airing on Iranian state TV, which are said to show the aftermath of nationwide protests that have been met with brutal force. For the first time, authorities have given an overall death toll, 2,000 people killed, while also blaming the United States and Israel of inciting the protests.
The young one, they will participate.
Dr. Shahram Azam knows just how ruthless the Iranian regime can be. He was a doctor in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps when in 2003, the regime arrested Canadian photojournalist Zara Kazemi, who was later brought to his hospital. He says Kazemi was missing fingernails, had a broken nose, and her skull was fractured. There were also signs of rape. She later died.
There wasn't any chance it happens by accident. At least she was beaten, if not torture.
In 2005, Azam, his wife and daughter fled to Sweden and applied for asylum in Canada. In the 2 decades since he left, he's watched protests unfold in his home country, all met with brutal force. But he says these protests, happening in both big cities and small towns, feel different.
And I hope it's the end of this brutality, this regime, and these things happening to my people.
The extent of the protests and subsequent crackdowns in Iran are difficult to gauge as internet remains cut off and phone service is spotty. Protests have also spread to cities around the world, including here in Toronto, where this afternoon members of the Iranian community gathered outside the U.S. consulate. Today, U.S. President Donald Trump told protesters in Iran that help is on the way, but declined to clarify what that means.
Trump has vowed to intervene militarily on behalf of the protesters, encouraging them to keep demonstrating. While the U.S. had previously said they wanted to find a diplomatic solution, today Trump said all meetings with Iranian officials have been canceled. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The creator of the comic strip Dilbert has died. For decades, Scott Adams rode a wave of popularity for his creation until his reputation was forever changed over racist comments about Black Americans. With more, here's Adrian Gobriel.
With comedic cynicism, it was a depiction of office culture that resonated with readers across the globe.
Luckily, everyone seems to be developing an immunity to the toxic environment.
At its height, Dilbert, the comic strip, created by Scott Adams, had its own TV series. In print, the mouthless, bespeckled character appeared in 2,000 newspapers worldwide in at least 70 countries and 25 languages. Adams once told CTV News that his own years spent working in a cubicle as an office dweller was the catalyst for his comic.
I spent 16 years in cubicles, first at a big bank and then at the phone company for 8 years. I became more cynical, if that was even possible.
Decades of Dilbert also gave way to multiple books, though the laughs came to an abrupt halt in 2023.
I got a call from my syndication company, and they said, we can't do business with you. We're done.
Adams was dropped by some of the world's largest newspapers following a racist remark he made on his YouTube show where he referenced a poll that asked people if they agree that it's okay to be white, a phrase used by white supremacists. At the time, Adams insisted his comments were taken out of context, though he made no apology.
So Dilbert is now fully canceled.
Last year, Adams revealed he had prostate cancer that had spread to his bones.
So we'll see how far we get, okay?
Just last week, Adams appeared on his live stream for what would be his final public appearance.
This is going to be a tough week.
Early Tuesday, his ex-wife appeared on Adams' live stream to share the news of his passing.
But he's not with us right anymore.
Delivering one final written message left behind by Adams himself.
I had an amazing life. I gave it everything I had. Please know, I loved you all to the very end.
Scott Adams was 68 years old. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Julie's on the desk with me now, and how quickly things can change. Yesterday was all the talk of milder temperatures, but we are talking a cool down, a much more wintry forecast now.
Yeah, a lobe of Arctic air comes in tomorrow, and as it comes across Lake Huron, you're going to notice the change instantly. So we will be seeing these cold fronts come through. There's a pair of them bringing snowfall to the area heading into tomorrow. A burst of snow associated with the first cold front, and then the second cold front whips those winds around to the northwest, activating Lake Huron and the lake effect expect snow. Mild temperatures in southern Ontario today coming in above freezing. That led to the mixed precipitation. Overcast conditions through the evening with a risk of some light drizzle. As we take a look at our satellite radar, so we do have this low pressure area that's moving by to the north, and as a result we have a little bit of light precipitation at the surface. We've had some heavier snowfall east of Georgian Bay and through the Bruce Peninsula today, but the majority of it has been fairly light in nature. That will not be the case with these cold fronts coming in tomorrow, and that will be bringing us the change. So as we head into the overnight, just overcast conditions, and again that light drizzle, but staying on the mild side to start. That first front, as I mentioned, comes through tomorrow morning, and that will bring us the winds shifting to the northwest. Now today the winds have been out of the southwest and have been gusting 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. It's been windy out there. That's kept us in this warmer air mass. Temperatures overnight staying above freezing. So even as we move toward midnight, we'll still be at about 3 degrees. Overnight, the temperatures start to dip down just a bit. So by tomorrow morning, hovering at about 1 degree, and that's when we'll reach our high for the day. Now the fronts come through, flurries and snow squalls develop. So watch how this all plays out. So this is tomorrow morning. That's the first front. As that comes through, a burst of snow expected about 2 to 4 centimeters in through Huron, Perth, Grey Bruce, London, a couple centimeters. But that'll be in behind it when the snow squalls develop. Flurries expected to push through heading into Wednesday night. So in terms of a snow squall setting up, watch this. This is so classic. It starts to come right off the lake and then just moves out west of London. Now, if this just meanders a bit further eastward, London will see about 5 to 10. If it stays right where it is, coming right downwind of Lake Huron, areas in and around Strathroy and west of London will pick up about 10 to 15 centimeters. That's a persistent snow squall, and as you drive into it, you'll experience whiteout conditions, and that's right along that 402. So that's tomorrow night. Now, the cold air will continue to filter over the Great Lakes Basin in the coming days, and we're going to get locked into this cold weather pattern. Where they're not feeling the cold is in Western Canada. Periods of heavy rainfall and breaking records in Alberta and in parts of Manitoba. Now the cold that's coming into southern Ontario will be setting up shop, as I mentioned, into the weekend and early next week. So tomorrow the temperature drops to -5 in the afternoon. Northwest winds 20 with gusts to 40. Heading into your Thursday, the high. That's your high. -10. So remember, 1 degree first thing in the morning. By the afternoon, we're down to -5 with wind chills about -15. Friday, cloudy, snowfall -2, -2 on Saturday, -5 on Sunday. Daytime highs will average below normal early next week. Look at a week out, -9, with overnight lows from -8 to -15. So we're going to swing the other way. Now, Midwestern Ontario snowfall with this first burst coming in tomorrow morning. You'll pick up about 4 to 6 centimeters, especially towards Grey and Bruce County. Then a bit of a lull in the action. Then the winds will start whipping around to the northwest, and then we'll start to see some squalls develop heading into Wednesday night. That means potential for another 10 to 15 centimeters, depending on where these squalls set up, of course. -9 the high on Thursday, -3 with snow and gusty winds on a Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Flurries and squalls expected right through the next 7 days. Very winter-like over the next 7, Carlyle. So tomorrow, again, we have the cold front coming in, flurries, blowing snow, and then snow squalls set up Wednesday night. Wind chills into the -teens, so we're talking bitterly cold air. So winter's rolling back in with some vengeance, that's for sure.
For sure. All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead on their worst behavior. We break down the numbers from a new report all about unruly airline passengers.
Chris Stapleton is heading to Toronto in August, and we want you to be there. Every single day this week, we're playing band practice with Boss Brad. He brings in his trombone and attempts to play it on air. Join us tomorrow morning at 8:10 for your chance to win.
Central bank leaders from around the world, including the Bank of Canada's governor, have issued a statement in solidarity with the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair. The statement says the independence of central banks is a cornerstone of financial and economic stability, and it's critical to preserve that independence with full respect for the rule of law and democratic accountability. White House officials have threatened Jerome Powell with criminal indictment over testimony he gave before Congress regarding renovations to the Federal Reserve's headquarters. President Donald Trump has pressured Powell to lower interest rates regardless of the economic impact. Canadian transportation authorities have released a report on airline disruptions for 2025. The numbers show a wide range of bad behavior, causing delays right across the country. With more on the data and the response from airlines, here's Scott Hurst.
We're talking rage at cruising altitude and sometimes even before flights get off the ground. Canadian transportation authorities logged more than 100 reports of disruptive air passengers last year. The incidents caused numerous flights to be delayed, diverted, or turned back to the gate. In many cases, the passengers causing the disturbances were arrested or escorted off the plane by police. The 114 reports include a wide range of bad behavior, including refusing to return to a seat, vaping on board, uttering threats, assault, and indecent exposure, just to name a few. 45 of the 114 reports were filed by flights departing or arriving in Calgary, by far the most for any Canadian city. It is, as we know, a major WestJet hub, followed by Toronto with 27 reports and Vancouver with 21. In a statement, a WestJet and Sunwing spokesperson said the airlines have zero tolerance for this behavior. Air Canada tells CTV News the number of reported incidents is a small fraction of the millions of flying customers every year. The reports of bad behavior, however, are actually trending downwards over the past few years, but union reps for flight attendants tell CTV News cases of disruptive passengers often go unreported, depending on the severity of the incidents. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
McDonald's Canada is dropping the price of McValue meal items and freezing the price of a small coffee for at least a year. Company officials say the price of a McValue meal will be $5. The small coffee price is now locked at $1. They say it's in response to public perception shifting in recent years, with more people taking cost into consideration when dining out, opting for better value options. Canada's main stock index edged lower despite strength in energy stocks. The TSX fell just 4 points. In New York, the Dow lost almost 400. The Nasdaq dropped 24. The Canadian dollar is down 0.06 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold fell more than $15 an ounce. Oil gained $1.65 a barrel.
I have to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to use my arms.
Coming up, the inherent risks of going abroad for medical care, told through one woman's traumatic experience.
Who's Hungry London? Growing Chefs Ontario presents the return of Londonlicious, January 16th to February 8th. Spotlighting unique and delicious eats in the Forest City. Enter now at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win dinner for two at one of the amazing restaurants.
3 months after CTV News revealed the Hamilton Road BIA had lost more than $100,000 to online scammers, city councillors discussed the fallout.
I don't think we just go, oh, well, 111,000 disappeared and they're making it up within their budget, and so we don't need to talk about it. I think that some answers are required as to where that money went and what was done about it.
Last night, Councillor Susan Stevenson pressed for a full accounting of what happened prior to giving her endorsement of the BIA's 2026 tax levy. Last summer, the executive director's banking credentials were stolen in a phishing scam, and $125,000 was stolen. BIA officials have reported just $14,000 recovered so far and have said they're still considering how to seek damages against the bank, which they say should have flagged the late-night withdrawals.
We discovered there's a gray area in the Banking Act in terms of mirrored sites. People can gain access to accounts.
The executive director is no longer with us. She's been terminated. And what I'm proud of is our voluntary board has taken upon it to do the management of the BIA until this year, 2026.
Provincial government officials say they're on track to connect every Ontarian with primary care in the next few years.
Ontario has already attached over 275,000 new patients to a primary care clinician, putting the province on track to meet or exceed our target of connecting 300,000 new people to care in 2025 and every Ontarian to a primary care provider by 2029.
They say most of the progress has been moving people off the Healthcare Connect wait list, a system the Auditor General has said is underutilized, with only 11% of Ontarians without primary care using it.
I think this is another example of the Minister of Health and this government gaslighting Ontarians, telling them that, look the other way. It's not us, it's you.
If this is actually the solution that Ontario patients have been dreaming about, well, they should act like they have confidence in the process and put some advertising behind it. Actually make sure that the word gets out.
According to government officials, about 2 million Ontarians are currently without primary care access. New research shows a growing number of Canadians traveling abroad for medical services in an attempt at getting around long wait times here at home. However, those procedures don't always go smoothly, leaving someone fighting for their life in a foreign country. Pauline Chan reports.
She was a 52-year-old business owner and mother of 4 who also had abdominal surgery to remove a massive tumor.
My dream was to have a mummy makeover.
A tummy tuck and breast lift. But after her medical excursion to Costa Rica last fall, Nicole Grigorov is facing a very different future from what she expected for the new year.
So I have to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to use my arms. I have to learn how to do everything.
Sepsis resulted in the loss of her fingers and toes. But Nicole was just one of the thousands of Canadians who went overseas last year for medical or cosmetic surgery. The U.S.-based Medical Tourism Association says there's been a 40% jump last year in Canadians going abroad for anything from faster hip replacements to nose jobs.
It's estimated that it's 432,000. And that's, data we have from hospitals, governments in some of the destination countries.
I just went online and did a ton of research. So I interviewed some doctors in Canada. Canada wasn't out of the question.
But in the end, she chose a clinic in Costa Rica.
The main driving factor is the cost. The cost of care in those countries is considerably lower. The overhead expense, the time in an operating room, the medications cost less there.
The cost for Costa Rica, about $20,000 plus flights.
So in Canada, it would have probably been 25% more.
But Nicole doesn't recall waking up at the clinic where her surgery was done.
Nicole Grigorov spent some 3 weeks in a coma in Costa Rica. Her organs shut down, and when she finally awoke, her next challenge was trying to get back to Canada.
Close friend Rod Ponkin stepped in with $85,000 for an air ambulance, and that wasn't the only hurdle.
There's a lot of moving parts because the air ambulance, the doctor and their team had to correspond with Niagara doctors, and they had to consult.
It was a 2-week wait to secure a hospital bed, with Nicole paying for each day in the Costa Rican hospital. She arrived in Niagara just before Halloween, and a couple of weeks later, she had to have all her fingers and toes amputated.
I just want my life back. I want peace in my life.
In our next report, we hear from medical experts
and switch
about how medical tourism is a growing industry and what to be aware of. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Researchers with the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health say there are problematic drinking habits developed during the pandemic that are persisting today in Ontario.
We thought that with time, we would see declines in some of these that distress, for example, and harmful drinking. We're still experiencing some of those challenges that first became evident during the pandemic.
The researchers surveyed more than 3,000 Ontario adults with 12% reporting alcohol dependence symptoms. That's down slightly from 2020, but still higher than the 7% reported before the pandemic. It also found adults are reporting more frequent mental distress, up 3% from 2020. The report doesn't suggest possible reasons for the numbers, only saying the data highlights a need for more investments in mental health and addiction supports.
Thank you to Jean McPhail for this photograph. This was taken this morning at Iona Station. Breezy and mild temperatures overnight with some light drizzle and then snow and snow showers heading into Wednesday. Temperatures dropping Wednesday afternoon with wind chills expected to dip into the minus teens as we head into your Thursday. Risk of snow squalls and some January weather settling back in over the weekend.
Police in the Toronto area say they're investigating an apparent arson involving tow trucks not far from another suspected arson from last week. Police have released security video from early this morning, which they say shows a suspect holding a gas canister while walking around vehicles in a Brampton parking lot. Moments later, the vehicles ignite. Two of them were tow trucks. Several tow trucks were torched back on January 5th nearby, sparking a larger fire. Police say they consider both instances arson, but at this point, they've arrested no suspects. Ukrainian officials say Russia struck several cities overnight in one of the biggest missile and drone attacks of the new year. Local authorities say the strikes killed at least 4 people and knocked out power for millions across Ukraine. The Ukrainian president says Russia launched nearly 300 drones, 18 ballistic missiles, and 7 cruise missiles, targeting 8 regions across Ukraine. Emergency power cuts were implemented, leaving many without heat in freezing temperatures. Greenland's prime minister says his country will choose Denmark over the United States. He met with his Danish counterpart in Copenhagen today, saying Greenlanders don't want to be owned or controlled by the U.S., repeating his country is not for sale. He also voiced faith in NATO, suggesting the hardest part now lies ahead when it comes to American interest in Greenland. The U.S. vice president is scheduled to host a meeting with his Greenland counterpart in Washington this week, while a bipartisan U.S. congressional delegation is heading to Copenhagen, a show of unity with Denmark. White House officials say they're sending about 1,000 more federal agents to patrol Minneapolis, prompting a lawsuit.
Our students are not attending classes. Our people are not going to work. This is hurting our state. And we didn't file a case before. We filed a case now because of this dramatic escalation.
Students at a local high school staged a walkout today in response to the federal agent who fatally shot a 37-year-old woman last week. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump posted on social media saying Democrats love the unrest because it distracts from a fraud scandal, adding, "Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming." An American athlete is accusing a Canadian coach of sabotage, accusing them of intentionally keeping her from qualifying for the upcoming Winter Games. American Katie Ulander is a former world champion skeleton racer and 5-time Olympian. She says Canadian officials withdrew competitors from an event where there were crucial qualifying points on the line. By reducing the field, fewer qualification points were up for grabs. Ulander won the event, but says the Canadian decision eliminated her chances of qualifying. Officials with the Sports Canadian Federation say they are aware of the allegations, and the international governing body is launching an investigation. One of the world's most active volcanoes is erupting right now in Hawaii. A tall pillar of lava was seen spouting up yesterday from the crater of the Kilauea volcano. It's located at Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park on the Big Island. Kilauea cycled through eruptions on and off since December 2024. Zookeepers in Poland have released a video of an unusual animal face-off. This is a muntjac deer squaring up with a massive Indian rhino. The deer weighs in at about 17 kilograms, the rhino about 1,700. The diminutive deer eventually chases the rhino away, which is described by zookeepers as a gentle giant. They also say the smaller animal was sincere in its defense, protecting its mate.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Julie Atchison is back with me on the desk, and we're joined by Lauren Stallone for our Behind the Likes segment. There are a couple of them we've done so far, and if you're curious about them, you can see them on our YouTube page. So what are we talking about this week, Lauren?
Well, I want to start by asking you both a question. Have you ever used social media to try and track someone down? I know it sounds a little bit weird, but I know I do it sometimes when I'm out reporting. I meet someone, I want to stay connected with them. Just seems like the fastest way to do that, to go on social media and find them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think over the years, definitely, I've looked up, people that I've seen from my past, or, wanting to connect with somebody. And I always often find that people are just connected, just, 3 degrees of separation.
Right, yeah.
I know someone who knows someone, and then that's how quickly that you can find them.
And you mentioned the reporting aspect as a journalist. Sure. Absolutely. That becomes almost part of the job these days that didn't exist 20 plus years ago.
Absolutely. Well, we have a really unique story. A singer from London. He lives in London now. He went on social media to do just that, and it's really interesting. So take a look at this clip.
So this might be a bit of a long shot, but if you are in London, Ontario, maybe you can help me out. Looking to find 2 girls that I met at the Noah Kahan concert in 2023 at Budweiser Stage. I was playing there with my band. I was the official pre-show artist for that show. I met so many awesome people that night, including these 2 girls from London. They told me that I had to come play in London on my next tour, and I promised them that I would let them know when I was coming. A couple years have passed now. I finally have a show booked in London, February 6th at Wolf Hall, but I have no way of contacting these girls. I want to give them free tickets because they were the first to ask. So if you have an idea of who this might be, or you live in London and you like indie folk music, show some love on this video, spread the word. I'm looking for these 2 girls. I want to give them these free tickets. Also, if you made it this far in the video and you like indie folk music and you live in London, you should totally come to my show, February 6th at the Wolf Hall. It's going to be great. Make this happen, guys. I think we can find them. We'll see you at the show.
Super cool, right? Yeah. So this was his initial reaction to hop on social media, and now everyone online is trying to help him out and try and find these girls. So I spoke with him to get an understanding of why this was his immediate reaction. But like we all said, we do the same thing. So I get it. I get him. So this is what he had to say.
I've been posting regularly on TikTok and on Instagram for years now, and just the amount of opportunities that come from it, the amount of connections, the amount of people that are willing to help is just amazing. So I figured that was the first place I looked. I had to go ask around to sort of find them.
I find there are 2 main factors when it comes to virality. One is rage bait. That goes like wildfire. Not the best kind of content, but the other stuff is just genuinely wholesome content, and that's the vibe I'm getting.
Absolutely, and it's so nice to see he just wants to spread his music and have fun with the community. And if you're those girls, go get your tickets.
Get in touch.
Yes, absolutely.
Or I'm going to claim them because I want to go to this concert.
You have to follow up too. I need to know if these girls find these tickets.
Yeah, and maybe this is a good way. If they see this, girls reach out to us, reach out to him, and it's going to be a really fun show. It's on February 6th. So. All
right. Lauren Salone and Julie, thanks very much for this. That's it for us. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle. Have a good night.